This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Another day, another horrible school shooting in America. Republicans claim to be the party of family values. They claim to be the party of sanity and patriotism and love of protecting children. And look, I don't know how many times this has to happen. It's endless. It's an infinite number of times because they just don't care. I mean, if it wasn't clear after Sandy Hook that Republicans just don't give a shit about the well-being, the livelihood, the lives of children, then it's not going to happen. Even their presidential candidates. I'm going to play a brief clip from an interview yesterday where Ron DeSantis is in Iowa campaigning because the Iowa caucuses, Republican caucuses, are on the 15th of January, just days away. And he's making the rounds. He's being interviewed by press, and there's a moment where he's being asked about this particular thing that took place in a high school yesterday, where a child, a sixth grader, was murdered by a gunman, by another kid with a gun, 17-year-old, apparently. And if you thought that Republicans had sunk to their lowest point relative to just putting on display that they don't care, you'd be wrong. I'm not shocked by this behavior. I'm not surprised by this behavior, but I continue to maintain my outrage and alarm at just how callous they can be. Watch Ron DeSantis' reaction. Listen for Ron DeSantis' reaction. Try to decipher even a scintilla of emotion, of concern, of regret, of compassion, of empathy. It's not there. If you thought Donald Trump was uniquely sociopathic, you'd be wrong. Ron DeSantis also shares this lack of ability to relate or emote or understand the pain and suffering that these parents in Iowa must be going through right now. Watch this.
We wanted to take a minute and talk about some unfortunate breaking news that's happening here in Iowa today. There was a shooting situation at a high school in Perry, Iowa, just outside of Des Moines. That news is still developing as we're speaking, but the authorities have said that multiple people have been injured. I just want to get your reaction to that.
Well, one of the things I've done as governor of Florida was respond to the Marjory Stoneman Douglas shooting that happened before I was governor. And so we got recommendations, report, and we've done over $1 billion for school security. And it involves a lot of different things. But as the father of three young kids who are in school, first grade, kindergarten, and pre-K, we want as parents to have safety in the school. So we've put a lot of emphasis on this. We're still getting the details about what happened here in Dallas County, but my sense was that there was a pretty robust response, and if that's the case, hats off to law enforcement for doing that.
Hats off to law enforcement. Not, I'm shocked and saddened. I mean, he didn't even do the bare minimum that politicians do, which is to offer up worthless thoughts and prayers. He didn't even do that. Her question was, what's your reaction to this horrific tragedy, this display of violence that we are subject to in this country day after day after day? That was the question. What's your reaction to this? And his reaction was, I, me, I did this, me. And then apparently there was a robust response. This is not even a facsimile of leadership. This is a mockery of what a politician should be doing. I hesitate to use the word politician because it doesn't. These are leaders. These are people who have been imbued with the power of being able to sign and craft and devise solutions to our problems. And he just rambled word salad about me, I. Please vote for me. I'm Ron DeSantis. No concern for the loss of life. And I don't know the exact timeline of this. It's very possible that they didn't know what the casualty count was. But certainly we have the experience of being Americans and understanding what the likelihood that there was death, that there were casualties. So he's either wildly incompetent, stupid, or doesn't care at all, and is so dedicated to the prospect of not caring that he doesn't even try to fake it. He doesn't even try to put it on like he gives a shit. Trying to comfort from a distance the parents who may or may not have lost a child. As a father of 3 children, as he says, you would think he'd be able to recreate in his mind what it would be like to have a kid and lose that child. I am wildly tired of Republicans and their games and their disgusting lack of concern about solving problems that actually impact the lives of Americans. This is no longer just a policy dispute. And we just have a fundamental disagreement about what rates to tax the rich at. And this is not that. This is kids going to school and not coming home, ever. Children frozen in time as 6th graders, as 2nd graders, as 1st graders. And Republicans being unwilling, demonstrating a bizarre and freakish level of recalcitrance toward progress, toward protecting the lives. I mean, Bill O'Reilly once said something along the lines of, piles of dead, he didn't say piles of dead kids, but dead kids, that's just the price of freedom. And it's not. We're not the only nation that enjoys some modicum of freedom in this world, on this planet. But we are the only nation that claims to be free, that allows hundreds, thousands of children to die at the end of a barrel of a gun every day, every year. France doesn't have these problems, they're free. Great Britain doesn't have these problems, they're free. Australia doesn't have these problems, they're free. Belgium, all of Europe, the entire developed world doesn't have these problems. But you know what they do have? Politicians who have some sense of empathy, some sense of duty to their constituencies to change the madness. It was in the mid-90s when Australia put an end to this. 1996, I think. And here we have Ron DeSantis, me, I, unable to put himself in anyone else's shoes and feel just a little bit of remorse. Imagine that, if you have kids, what that must be like. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at Dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. 2024, this could be the year that we change things. Be genuine. Take care of one another.